Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, and I am joined as always by Tim. Why do you insist on not saying anything when I introduce you?
Every time before we start the show, you always point at me and yell at me and say, "Don't speak until I tell you can speak." And then you always get mad when I wait for you to give me permission.
I hope people know Tim's joking right now. I really hope so, because you're painting me as a tyrant, and I don't think I like that so much.
You're more of a nemesis.
I appreciate that joke because I'm a Resident Evil fan. So yeah, this is our horror movie podcast. This is going to be our news episode. We've got a bunch of news to talk about this week. A couple of interesting trailers, mostly a lot of news though. And as Tim requested last week, Tim made it clear that he wanted box office figures in his news show. Now,
yeah.
I believe we guessed what Bram's The Boy 2 was going to open at. However,
oh yeah.
did I write those down? Did I write down those guesses?
I have no idea.
I don't think I did. That feels like it would have been a smart thing to do. Because if I recall correctly, I guessed about, I think 14, and you guessed 20 something?
I think about 20-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So future note, when we do guesses at the end of this section now, I'll write them down.
Okay.
Let me just get my pad. It's hiding behind the thing. We got it. Okay, so yeah, let's look at the box office then, and we'll see how Bram's The Boy 2 actually did. Because Tim, if you recall, you were claiming for months that Bram's The Boy 2 would be the first horror movie to break $1 billion.
Yeah, no, keep in mind, I didn't say opening weekend, so don't be surprised if it doesn't happen this weekend.
That's true. However, for a movie to crack $1 billion, it has to start reasonably high to have the legs to get to the billion. Movies that usually cross $1 billion at least open to probably over 100 million domestically in its opening weekend.
Of course,
right?
Yeah,
if not a bit more.
Makes sense.
So Bram's was not number one.
We basically just need one out of every 7 people to see the movie, and that it'll be.
Tim, I explained this last week. Movie tickets cost more than $1. You don't need 1 billion people to see the movie for it to make $1 billion. Much less, in fact.
Oh, okay. So then it's even more feasible. If we just get 1 out of every 10 people or something on the planet.
I don't know how to do this show anymore, Tim. I really don't. You really put me in a position here. So number 1 was again Sonic the Hedgehog. Wasn't Bram's.
Of course.
Number 2 was also not Bram's. That was Call of the Wild with 24.8 million. Sonic was 26 million for the record. Number 3 was not Bram's. That was Birds of Prey. The Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn at 7 million. Number 4 was Bram's The Boy 2.
There you go. It's in the top 5.
It's in the top 5. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, Tim.
Yeah.
Do you think...
Was there only 4 movies that were out?
Do you think a movie such as Bram's The Boy 2 has done... do you think a movie that opens to 5.9 million has a chance of breaking $1 billion?
I do, because there are such things as word of mouth. Once it starts spreading.
See, that's funnier to me though, because I've seen the movie. You can find our review up today of Bram's The Boy 2. You're welcome. But yeah,
that would have been a good subtitle.
for the record though, this opened at about half of what the first movie did when it opened in 2016.
Oh, okay.
So it's halved. It's not going to somehow quadruple what it made to $1 billion. It's making half of what it made so far of the first one. So
as long as it makes enough to get a number 3, because I got questions after this movie.
I don't think it's going to get the number 3, Tim. I think this is not going to make a profit. It looks like it's going to struggle to break even.
I have trouble believing that, but
Of course you do. Of course you do. Sticking with other horror movies in the list, just for curiosity's sake, Fantasy Island, which I do believe we also guessed, not what it made, but we guessed if it would be in the top 10 still or not. And I think you said it would be. I think you said it would probably drop to like 9-ish.
Yeah, like towards the bottom, but still in there.
To his credit, it only dropped to number 7 with 4.1 million.
Okay.
So it says something though when 4.1 million is a 66% drop from the previous week. So yeah, so Fantasy Island ain't doing so hot. Apparently when it comes out in home video, this, I mean, I've not got it in the news, but I saw it while I was browsing the news. Apparently there will be an R-rated cut on home video, so when we actually get to review this, we might actually be watching the R-rated cut. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Does that mean we get a better movie? Probably not. It's the guy who did Truth or Dare. I'm not feeling confident. After that, I don't think there's any real horror stuff anywhere near the top. The Lodge is at number 19. That's got a very small release though, so that's not exactly good or bad for that. It's just, it's just got its little indie release and that's fine. And then looking further down in that, I'm not seeing anything stick out to me. The next one down is number 29, The Turning, which with $136,000. That's its fifth weekend, no less. So
I forgot that movie even existed.
I know. We're going to have to do it later in the year, but hey. We do have another biggie coming out next week though, Tim.
Yeah.
We got
Invisible Man.
Invisible Man, the first how should I put this? Notable release of 2020 is out there next week.
Yes.
So I think we should guess what Invisible Man's going to
do. Let's see. Well, I mean, I think it will probably do well because it's got notable people in it, and I think there is more buzz around it as being an actually good movie. But I mean, it is still February. Like, are people really, like obviously I think horror fans are going to see it, but like, like normal casual people, are they going to want to see, a horror movie around this time? I don't know. Also, I don't really pay attention to box office numbers, so I have no idea like what normal is. But I bet it'll do good. Maybe this is high, but I'll say like 35 million.
Oh, okay, all right. 35. I'm also going to say it does well for a horror movie. I'm going to say it does 25. But I'm going lower than you though.
Okay.
Call that an educated guess, although I routinely get these things wrong anyway, so doesn't really mean much, but I pay attention to them more than you do, so at least there's that.
Do you think it'll be number 1 or?
I think it'll be number 1 next week, because Sonic's going to fall, Call of the Whale's going to fall as well. I think Invisible Man will be number 1 next week. It's just a question of how much of a number 1 is it? Like, how much of a lead does it have over number 2? And assuming the movie's good, I hope it does well. So hopefully it can do something like, notable. So there you go. That's your box office section, which was requested by Tim. Which my co-hosts in the comics podcast don't believe you asked for. They said it was slander that I said you asked for it. So.
Well, I think I'll still count it as slander just because the way you say it. You have a tone that's slanderous.
A tone? Me? Never. Do you want some news?
Be a monster.
Yes. I've got the sugar-free.
Very scary drink.
I've got the sugar-free Ultra Sunshine, which basically just means it's the orange flavored one. So.
Okay.
Not orange in color, orange as in the fruit orange. Citrusy is I guess what I'm trying to say. All right, let's talk about some horror movie news, shall we? So William Brent Bell, who you may recognize as the director of The Boy and Bram's The Boy 2, is in the news this week. He is developing ideas for a prequel to The Devil Inside. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I never saw this, but was this the one that notoriously ended with a non-ending, and it was just a screen telling people to go to a website?
Go to the website. I could be wrong, but that does sound right.
Yeah, I think this was this movie, yeah. And I never saw it, but when I heard that, I was like, whoa. And this is the thing, Tim, if there's a new one coming out, we're going to have to do that first one, and that That upsets me.
Hopefully the website's still up.
I love the idea it tells you to go to your website to get the end of the story, and you go to it, it's just 404 not found. So yeah, William Brent Bell, who's got so much credibility after the Boy movies,
WBB.
But he did also direct The Devil Inside. That's right, the director of The Boy was the guy who did The Devil Inside. So he is working on a prequel. Obviously sequels are quite common. He's done a lot of press this week for all Bramsey The Boy 2, and he does say they're developing ideas for a prequel to The Devil Inside right now. It's so cool. It's so fun to be able to go back to stories like that and then build on something. It'll be like current day because it's kind of bookended with Maria Rossi today, and it'll be like Centrino Mental Facility current day. So here's the thing. That movie is notorious for not having an ending and copping out and not giving people any kind of conclusion. And his idea is to do a prequel to that movie. He's going to do stuff set before. This is. I mean, I don't want to sully the greatness that is David Lynch, but it's reminding me in a much more like incompetent way of like how like Twin Peaks ended without the conclusion, and then David Lynch made a movie, but he set the movie before the TV show, right? It's reminding me of that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? He might have some strong ideas going. He probably needs to strike right now while his name is hot. So yeah, I mean, this could be cool. I'm trying to think, what would a prequel to like a website be? Like like a fanzine or something? Like you have to subscribe to some mail order.
A fanzine or like, I don't know, a page in the Yellow Pages. I have no idea. Please write to this address for more information on the conclusion of this film. So I know everyone's super excited about this.
Yeah. I do think it's funny you always complaining about whenever we watch a movie that's like, oh, it's just so generic and does the same thing, and then here's like a director who's trying to do something different and you shit all over him. So I don't know. Yep.
What you want from me? It's worth mentioning that the first Devil Inside was one of the few movies to receive the dreaded F score on Cinema Score. Although I have to admit, I still don't really understand Cinema Score, what it is, or why anyone cares about it. But whatever, it's there.
You are familiar with the letter F, though.
I am familiar with the letter F. This is a fact.
That's something you're used to.
I know that one. There's all letters that confuse me. I don't understand them, but F I'm familiar with.
We got quite a handful of them in school. All right. I mean, I don't know if they use the letter grading system there. Maybe there you get like a twig or a rock or something, like depending on how well you do.
Actually, it is a little bit different. Well, it's a little bit different for the first few years of high school. Because the last couple of years where you're getting graded at a higher level or A level in England, you get letter grades then, you get A, B, C, what you're used to, right? Although it's not some stupid, like, only so many people can get an A, like at some places in the US do. It's none of that bullshit. It's just, no, you get this percentage of right, you get the A, so on, right? But before that in high school, although they've done away with this system now, so it may be completely different now, but when I was there, you get graded numbers instead of letters, so a 1 was the best, 2 was second, so it was the same thing, it was just,
Yeah.
Easy switch
I think they do that here in some places, but I think it's more for like elementary school, maybe.
Yeah. Like I said, it changed to letters for the last, like, sort of the tough years, where it was like, oh, this is the college level stuff to get you into colleges.
Yeah. And as always, just a nice reminder that I got very good grades in school, just in case anyone was wondering.
I got pretty. Do you know what's funny is I never studied in high school because I didn't feel like I needed to, and for a long time that was true, and I got straight like 1s pretty much, and then the last couple of years when it legitimately got tougher and it became a time where, hey, you actually will need to probably study for this. I didn't really know how to do that, and I didn't do as well. I still did okay. Like I got like, because we did like 5 things that year. You do 5 higher classes at a time. I got 2 A's, a B, and 2 C's, right? Not terrible. That's an alright score across the board. But like, it was the first time I legitimately was like, oh, I can't just like know this. You know, like anything before that level, anything we learned in like math class, I just took in when it was explained to me, and I never had a problem with it. It was just easy to me. When I hit that level, it was like, oh no, this is hard. Like I can't do this anymore.
No, it was the same way. Like it always was pretty, because I always like reading and stuff anyway. So like I coasted pretty easily up until maybe sometime in high school, and then math was the big one. Like once they started introducing like letters and stuff into it, and you started to be like, oh shit, I actually have to like think about this now.
Yeah, I was okay with algebra when it first came in. It was when it got really complex, like in the last couple of years. But like I said, I mean, that's a good word. I could just coast and get good grades until those last like 2 years of high school. And it was like, oh shit, I've never studied in my life because I never had to. So I don't know how to prep for this shit.
And I forget what it was called, but I took like some math class in college because you whatever you need so many different credits. And I remember someone like telling me, I was like, trying to think of what like class to take, and like someone suggested this one. They're like, it's like math, but like for English majors, like it's like it's easy. It's not like that hard. I was like, oh, okay, and it wasn't that bad.
Oh, good. 2 plus 2.
We don't have to go there.
You're forgetting that much.
Calculator on me. I learned. It's basically just learning how to use a calculator. That's what math is.
Yes. So anyway, next in the news. Posted his name, William Brent Bell. We got another story about him.
Jeez.
His next film that he's doing post The Boy 2. Brahms. It's already in post-production. They've already shot it, right? It's called Separation. It stars Rupert Friend, who was in Homeland, and Brian Cox, who was in Autopsy of Jane Doe. You'll know him from, but I mean, he's been in a bunch. He was in the original Ring as well for another horror thing. He was in a bunch of stuff.
Adaptation.
He was the original Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter. He's an old-timey Scottish actor. He's been around for a long time.
Very good.
So he's also Cam's Madeline Brewer. I mean, like that movie. She was the main character in that.
Oh, wait, what movie?
Cam.
Oh, Cam. Okay, yeah.
The Cam Girl movie. So, in Separation, a young girl finds solace in her artist father and the ghost of her dead mother.
Whoa, that's scary.
What?
The ghost of the dead mother?
The Hollywood Reporter wrote that the story is said to be a contemporary supernatural thriller that explores the terrifying consequences of divorce like no film before, taking a page from Kramer versus Kramer as well as The Sixth Sense and Mama.
So he divorces a ghost? What?
I assume they get divorced before one of them turns into a ghost. Okay. Or it's not literal divorce, but it kind of examines what divorce does to a kid through the death of... Look, just...
I like it. There's themes already. Sounds cool.
Yes, from the director of The Devil Inside and The Boy. Oh, sign me up. Can't wait. Next up. So here's one we never done in the show, actually, and it's surprising we never did this in the show, and I'm sure we'll get to it, especially if this comes to pass. But Orphan is a movie that we've never gotten around to, and it was directed by Wom Colette Serra, and that was in 2009, so it's 11 years old now, and it's about an adopted 9-year-old girl named Esther, who's not as innocent as she seems. I won't actually say what the rest of what this is because it does spoil the ending, and I've not seen it, but I knew what the twist was, so I'm not pissed that I read it, and I'm sure you know what the twist is as well, probably.
Oh yeah, I've seen the movie. So,
you've seen the movie, so there you go. Yeah. I've not even seen it, so I didn't know. Well, I didn't know the twist, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the news is that Sierra Affinity is launching sales at EFM in Berlin on Esther, a prequel to Orphan that will explain the backstory of the character. And guess who it's going to be directed by?
William Brent Bell.
You got it in one, Tim! I can't believe it! How did you do that?
Wow, this guy's hot. Man, he's got some cachet.
I can't
This
believe
just leading up to an orphan versus boy movie.
I can't believe that the first 3 stories this week where he's developing a prequel to The Devil Inside, he's got another original movie that's already shot and he's just going to post. So we may even see it this year. That might be a 2020 movie. And then he's working on a confirmed prequel to Orphan called Esther. So this guy's all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Anyway, there's a description here of what the sequel is. I'm going to not read it for the sake of not spoiling the first movie.
Okay.
But it'll explain the backstory of the girl, of the orphan, the titular orphan.
Yeah, she goes, watches a movie with her parents. They decide to duck down a dark alley.
Cracking a Batman joke there, see? Very good, very good. Next up, Peninsula, the sequel to Train to Busan, has been acquired at EFM in Berlin, with Wellgo USA grabbing the North American rights coming from Screen Daily. There's been some confusion to the film's title and sequel status, which is cleared up by the director this week, making it clear that it's not a sequel strictly, it's just set in the same world, and presumably is also a zombie movie. But it's not going to have the characters from, Train to Busan in it. It's going to be separate things going on. So Peninsula takes place 4 years after the outbreak of zombies that were chasing protagonists on the train speeding to Busan. The Korean peninsula is devastated, and Young Sik's former soldier, who has managed to escape overseas, is given a mission to go back and unexpectedly meets up with survivors. I like that part of it. I like that this is about someone having to get a mission or choose to go back in to Korea and find something, or maybe save someone. Maybe this is like an Escape from New York style thing where there's someone's landed in Korea and they need to send in their Korean Snake Plissken to save them. That could be cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, for me it's just hey, I love the first movie, so yeah, anything this guy does, sign me
of course,
up, so,
yeah. We loved the first film. Obviously excited for this. Hopefully we get to see it this year. And it's got twice the budget of Train to Busan, because that was budgeted at $8 million. This is going to be a $16 million movie. I feel confident they're going to do okay with that and not regret spending the money.
Definitely.
And if there was ever an example of Hollywood spending too much on movies, there you go. They did Train to Busan on $8 million.
Yeah,
that's all you need for a good zombie movie. So that's cool. So that's closer to fruition. It's been made, but it's closer to being in our hands.
Yeah.
Glad you approve. Timbo. All right. I Know Who Killed Me's Lindsay Lohan. I like how the article says that like she's not known for Mean Girls or like being a wreck or whatever Lindsay Lohan does.
Is that enough of a horror movie for us to do on the show?
I have no idea. How much of a horror movie is it?
I don't know. I guess you'd probably call it like a thriller. I have seen it. It's like batshit, like insane. It's
feels bonus movie level.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Do you know what? Me and Tim have got a problem right now. We've got so many good ideas for bonus episodes that we could literally do 4 bonus episodes a month and just do 1 regular episode a month, and it would be fine. We could switch the numbers and just do lots of bonus episodes. All right. So Lindsay Lohan, who recently appeared in the werewolf film Among the Shadows, add it to the list. We have to see that.
I haven't even heard about that.
Yeah, she's joining Oscar nominee Mickey Rourke from The Wrestler and Nightmare Cinema in a supernatural thriller called Cursed. And we just mentioned a werewolf movie. This is not a werewolf movie called Cursed.
Yeah.
Not to confuse it with the Wes Craven movie that was terrible. Lohan will play police detective in the film. Lindsay Lohan is a police detective. That's going to be a hard swallow. That's going to be a hard one to swallow. Which Angel Oak Films is selling at the European Film Market in Berlin. That's what EFM stands for, in case you were wondering about the last couple of articles. Cursed tells the story of renowned psychiatrist Dr. David Elder, played by Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke is a psychiatrist, isn't it? That's some weird casting choices. Who teams up with police detective Mary Brannigan, played by Lohan, in a race to stop an escaped psychiatric patient from killing 5 people held hostage in a remote house. Something there.
Wait, did they say it was a werewolf movie?
No.
Okay.
The last thing she was in was a werewolf movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, I guess.
So the director of this is Stephen R.
William
Monroe.
Brent Bell.
It's Stephen R. Monroe who directed the 2010 remake of I Spit in Your Grave for comparison. I don't know if you saw that, but
Don't believe I did. No.
yeah. Well, we did the original recently, so we should probably do that remake at some point. But we'll see. We'll see. So there you go. Lindsay Lohan's going to be a gritty detective, and Mickey Rourke's going to be a psychiatrist.
I wonder how often in real life do like cops team up with someone? Like, I feel like you never see that in the news. Like, oh, like, you know, cop teams up with a local butcher to take down like mafia crime family. Like, yeah, I wonder if that's a real thing.
Well, I feel like if it was a butcher, it'd have to be something like there's like meat smuggling or something they're taking down.
Yeah.
It has to be something that the person's like an expert in. Nah, probably not. If you watch the Fox channel, like every TV show in that network convinces you that cops team up with other non-cops all the time. Next up,
Maybe I have to do a movie about a rogue serial killer podcaster, and the cop has to enlist two podcasters to help him find him.
yeah, that sounds good. So next up, what would be in the mind of the podcaster? Like, well, right about now, they're probably thinking about lunch.
I can tell from his ad reads that he's he must be based in this area of the country.
Oh, so good. So we've heard about this next one before. This is Dark Harvest. It's a horror novel from 1963. It's been turned into a movie. David Slade, who did Hard Candy, 30 Days of Night, is directing it. Book set during Halloween 1963, small midwestern town where teenage boys eagerly square off with the butcher knife wielding October Boy, aka Old Hacksaw Face, aka Sawtooth Jack. A lot of names there for this villain, but that's okay. So yeah, the news here today, though, why it's up again in the news is that because it has a home now, MGM has acquired it and they're going to put it out. So this is probably going to happen now because they've got a distributor, they've got a studio behind them. So
okay.
So yeah, that's Dark Harvest, and hey, if they can, they could probably pump this out in time for Halloween. It's just early enough. I think they can do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get this out in time for Halloween.
Oh. It's cool. I mean, I've heard of an urban harvest from the Children of the Corn movies, but I've never heard of a dark harvest.
The hit film series Children of the Corn.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a second or third one, but one of them is called Urban Harvest.
I think it's the third one. Yeah. Because I've only seen the first three, and I'm pretty, because it came like a DVD box set of the first three, and I'm pretty sure that was the third one.
What a box set.
I've never seen past that. I mean, one day we'll go through those that franchise and do the whole shebang. But
there's that'd be a fun game show. Is just having contestants guess how many Children of the Corn's movies there are. I think most people would be surprised.
Actually, do you know what a good question or a good round on a game show would be? Is you give people like 5 like subtitles for horror movie sequels, and they have to tell you what franchise they're from. So you have Urban Harvest, you have say The New Blood, and then you have Bloodline. And you're like, okay, which one was which? And they all sound easy to me because I know what they are. But like that's a fun question.
I like you do one that just like could be multiple movies, like New Generations, like
yeah, or something like Retaliation or Resistance, or like something that could literally be like 10 different movies. Next up, Level K has acquired the worldwide sales rights to Ruth Platt's British ghost story Martyr's Lane. This is coming from Screen Daily again. The first film photo's out too. The supernatural story is about a 10-year-old girl living in a vicarage and is confronting her deepest fear that her mother doesn't love her.
Okay. Sounds scary, I guess.
That reminds me that we have to do for a bonus episode on Kathy's Curse, right? Remind me, Tim.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to see that. Actually, I've never seen it.
Mainly just because about her being scared that her mother doesn't love her, it just made me think of the one clip that everyone shares from Kathy's Curse.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I don't think I've seen it.
Your mother's a bitch! Never seen that clip? No?
I don't think I have, but I have heard that is quite the film.
Yeah, that's definitely one we have to do for patrons at some point. All right, so next... Oh, actually, do you have anything to say about this one? Are you into the sound of this? Martyr's Lane.
I mean, I would not be the man I am today without my mother's love. So just imagining a young child having to grow up without that. I mean, that's what's scarier than that? This is a movie that's already shaken me to my core.
I don't know. In your case, there may be an improvement, but
How dare you?
I need to call Tim's mother and say, it's not too late to have an abortion. Like, you can still get rid of him.
you bitch.
All right, next up. Gravitas Ventures has secured the US rights to director Bradley Liu's Asian horror film Motel Acacia. I'm going to say that's pronounced. That's Acacia. So it could be Acacia, it could be Acacia, but I'm going to say Acacia is my guess. But so again, this is coming from EFM in Berlin, so there's a lot of news from there this week. That's why there's maybe all these little movies getting picked up. Motel Acacia is about a young man being groomed to take over the family business, a motel in the Filipino wilderness that seemingly provides shelter to illegal immigrants on behalf of the government. So what's interesting there is that if it didn't specifically say in the first sentence that this is a horror movie, I wouldn't have put this in the news because it didn't sound horror from the description, but it does specifically say it's a horror movie, so we just don't know how that becomes a horror movie.
At least sounds like it's about something, which is always like interesting.
That's usually a good start for a movie. I agree. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's just like actually, it seems like it has like some deeper thought or meaning to something. Like it's not just like there's a killer tiger in the woods or something. It's like okay, could be cool.
Time approves. Good. We'll see.
I'd gladly watch a killer tiger movie though.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
I don't have a killer tiger for you movie this week, but I do have sharks and bears coming up later. So
hell yeah,
look forward to it. Next up, so that's again out of EFM with Blurn. Zach Braff, who is the worst. He's going to star. Scrubs.
Garden State didn't change your life.
Garden State is overrated trash, and so is Scrubs. While we're on the subject of Zach Braff, Scrubs is for scrubs.
Oh my god! Can't believe what I'm hearing.
It's the worst. Maybe the worst sitcom I've ever seen.
All right.
I can't even say that with a straight face, but it's bad. I don't like it. I hate it. Anyway, so he's going to star in a shark movie called Tiburon? I bet this is a shark-related word. Tiburon. Is that right?
I have no idea.
Okay. It's Tiburon. And so he's going to star in this with Paula Patton and Rupert Friend.
Oh. It's just a nice name.
Okay, all right. I don't like Paula Patton, actually. I liked her in the fourth Mission Impossible. Sounding like a bit like Crawl, only with sharks, Tiburon tells the tale of a young family trapped in camper vans, stranded on a flooded tidal basin within sight of a beach, who must decide whether to face down a sadistic fugitive or flee through the shark-infested waters.
The hell?
Nah, not into this.
No, I mean that definitely sounds cool. I'm for that.
Sure. Yeah. Nah, but sounds like it could be fun. It's going to start shooting in South Africa in the spring, so start shooting in the next couple of months. So cool.
Do you think Florence Pugh will visit Zach Braff on set?
What?
They're an item.
They are?
Yeah.
Isn't he like 15 years older than her?
Oh, hell yeah.
She's younger than I am. What the hell? And Zach Braff is definitely older than I am, like by a significant margin.
Mm.
I was just a wee lad when Scrubs was on TV.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's love is mysterious.
Yeah, actually, my reaction to this is him, because what do you call him? Jim from The Office. What's his face?
Krasinski?
Yeah, John Krasinski. He was telling this story about how he was at like the airport somewhere, and he was getting his like ID checked, and like he's meant. And the conversation came up that he was visiting Emily Blunt, his wife, and. He when the guy realized that this was Emily Blunt's husband, he just looked at him and went, "You?" So that's my reaction to this. Like, him?
Yeah. It's surprising, but I mean, I don't know. Well, I guess, yeah, I feel like it's kind of, yeah, that's kind of unexpected, but also I don't know. It probably seems like I guess it's maybe a little more normal for like Hollywood people.
I guess. I mean, I just don't like Zach Braff that much, so I guess there's very few people that I wouldn't be disappointed they're dating Zach Braff. It'd have to be someone else I don't like to go, yeah, that's a fair pairing. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Like, who do I not like?
Amy Acker.
What? I like Amy Acker. Shut up. I mean, she's more suitable age-wise, but like, don't do that to my Fred. How dare you? From Angel, the spin-off of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
There you go.
Thank you. So I saw your wife was very happy that Spike was a regular in season 5 of Angel.
It's kind of funny, like it's yeah, like we're a pro Spike household, like
Of course,
but
yeah.
it is like kind of like a spoiler though. Like the first episode, like before he even shows up, you see him in the credits. Like it's like,
yeah, that's weird. They should have saved it till episode 2 because he shows up at the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey.
But hey, it's fun to have that old cantankerous little vampire back.
Well, here's the beautiful thing. I remember rolling my eyes a little bit when I heard Spike was going to Angel after Buffy ended because it felt like, okay, he's a fan favorite. You want to keep him around, but honestly, he has such good chemistry with Angel. Like, see when he's like giving Angel shit and like trying to get on his nerves, it's such a good pairing that no, this is perfect. Have them together. It's a shame that it wasn't longer. It's a shame that we didn't get season 6 and 7 of Angel to have this go for a couple of years. But
yeah, I really love the dynamic of season 5. Just like everything's going on at Wolfram and Hart, and kind of it does feel like the group like it kind of gets split up a little bit. But I think they all kind of find like really interesting things to do with each character. It's a very fun season.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. Alright, so Florence Pugh, dump Zach Braff and do better. I'm not saying I want you. I'm just saying find better. You can do better. Just, go. I hear. Who do I like? What young gentleman do I think is a good fit? That Spider-Man fellow, he seems nice. Like, go get Tom Holland.
Nathan Drake himself.
That ain't happening. I just lost an old director. That ain't happening. All right. So from directors of...
that's when you gotta call in William Brent Bell.
Well, from one shitty horror director to another. John R. Leonetti, who directed these... We've done all 3 of these movies. Just brace yourself for this trio of movies.
Oh, no.
Annabelle.
Okay.
The Silence. And Wish Upon.
Oh, boy. That is quite the pedigree.
What a trilogy of shite. So he's going to do his next film. It's called Lullaby. It is a horror film that will star Una Chaplin, who was on Game of Thrones, apparently. I mean, I don't watch that crap, so I can't have an
granddaughter Charlie Chaplin, I presume.
You presume. I presume too. You're right. She should be. She should do all of her movies in silence and black and white in honor of her great grandfather.
What's funny is I actually just finished this book called Prequels, which was by it's a very good book. Actually, I'd recommend it to people, but I just like found it in an airport when I was on vacation, and it has 2 authors. It has J.D. Barker and I'm not sure how you say the first name, Dacre. It's like Dacre, but it's like Dacre Stoker. It's like you see like a book called Prequels and like Stoker or Stoker and yeah, my first wait, am I messing it up? Bram Stoker.
Bram Stoker is the author of Dracula, if that's what you're going for here.
Yeah, well, like the first thing you say is like, well, surely they're not like related, right? And then, but no, like looked it up as like, oh yeah, it's like the great grand nephew or something of Bram Stoker, and it's like, yeah, I just thought that was funny because it's like, oh, like, certainly leaning into that family legacy.
I really hope that Dracul is about a Dracula who wants to be a cool guy, so he's like, I'm Dracul! High five! Anyway, Lullaby, which is the horror film that's going to start Una Chaplin, directed by John R. Leonetti. Deadline's reporting, Alcon Entertainment, Lullaby will begin production next month. It's based on the mythological figure Lilith. The film is rooted in folklore and follows a new mother who discovers a lullaby in an ancient book and soon regards the song as a blessing. But her world transforms into a nightmare when the lullaby, Lilithabai, Hebrew for Lilith Begone, brings forth the ancient demon Lilith. So this is another movie about a young mother with a baby, directed by the guy who did Annabelle. You know what? No, I don't want it. I don't want it. DEFCON 1. DEFCON 1.
It's funny, Lilith is one of those like names that I feel like just gets like tossed around in a lot of things. So I really don't know too much about like whatever the actual Lilith is from. I don't know if it's like from the Bible or something, but I know there's like a Lilith in Castlevania.
There's a Lilith in Sabrina, and I believe all the mythology about the evil Lilith is why Fraser Crane's wife was called Lilith.
Oh, that makes sense.
That was the joke.
And I want to say I feel like there has to be a Lilith in like at least Marvel or DC. Maybe not both, but at least like Tomb of Dracula or something probably had a Lilith at some point.
Yeah, well, Marvel has a lot more Dracula and vampire stuff than DC does.
DC has some.
As a vampire, but it's not like a ton.
Vampire, Night Force.
When was Night Force last published?
I mean, not for a while, but close enough.
Were either of us born? That's the question.
Not sure.
Yeah, okay, that says it all. Next up, EFM in Berlin. Another deal here. Shudder this time, though. Shudder has acquired Dead and Beautiful, directed by prominent Dutch filmmaker David Verbeek. And they've got the US, Canadian, UK, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand rights. So basically the English-speaking places. So the film follows a group of young and spoiled teenagers in an Asian megalopolis, say that right, who turns into vampires after a night of partying. Bewildered at first, the group realizes they feel even stronger, more attractive, and even more invincible than ever before, but it quickly dawns on them that they can no longer trust each other. So, yeah, it's a teen vampire movie.
So who's the director? Is it someone we're familiar with? Or
David Verbeek? He did Full Contact, which I have not heard of, so this is new to me.
Okay.
But it could be an interesting new talent. Keep an eye on. See how this maps out.
I like vampires, so I mean, we'll see if it's leaning more into like the horror aspect. That could be cool. If it's that's the problem with like like vampire stuff nowadays. You never know if it's gonna go like the kind of more teeny YA, kind of route, or if it will be a more horror-y thing.
Just say it. Go on, say it. Twilight shite. Just say it.
I mean, hey, no shade if you like Twilight. That's fine. To each their own. It's not my style.
But... No, they'll shade. Get better taste. No. If you want to enjoy Twilight, go and enjoy Twilight. But just let it be known you're enjoying trash. Just admit it to yourself. Enjoy it for the trash that it is, and embrace your inner peace. Next up,
check out Howling New Moon.
No, it wasn't that. It was Howling. Oh God, what was the Reborn? It was Howling Reborn. That was the Twilight inspired one. Oh boy, that movie. All right. Next up, so Lin Shaye, who of course was in the Insidious movie. She was in the New Grudge. She's been in a bunch of stuff. She's joining Tobin Bell, who of course was in Saw, and like most of the Saw movies up until, well, maybe he's in Spiral. We don't know if he's in Spiral, but
he was in a movie I just watched called Basil Booth.
Yeah, well, that was on the kind of maybe to-do list for 2019 catch-up. Honestly, we have so little time left to do catch-up on movies, it's probably not happening, but it was kind of on the rough to-do list for a while. So she's going to star in this film with him. It's called The Call. and this is the log line. The film is about a group of friends who tormented an elderly woman suspected to be a witch. After the old woman dies, the friends are forced to call a phone installed in her casket. Okay, this is going places. To their horror, someone on the other end picks up.
Ooh. Hey, I really like this premise. This is at least sounds cool.
Well, it's well written. It's an interesting delivery of this premise. Admittedly, my cynical brain tells me that this is just going to be, oh, they did something bad and the ghost of this woman is going to haunt them afterwards. So it's going to be a generic supernatural, comes after them one by one movie.
Be like a CGI ghost where they kind of just see it in the shadow at first, and then there's big loud music sting and like CGI black goo like spits from its like face.
Yeah, it could be all these things that we don't like. So I'm not ready to get excited, but it is a well written little description where it's like, oh, hello, okay, cool. Yeah. So
and I love Lin Shaye. She's great. Like, man, it's crazy how much stuff she does. Like, because I feel like for every movie we actually cover on the show, she has like some other like horror movie that like slips under our radar.
Oh sure, yeah, absolutely.
Like she just had another one from last year that we haven't done yet, which again, who knows if we'll get to it, but like is like Final Wish or something like that.
Sounds appealing. Next,
I think we might have to make a
Lin Shaye month.
No. Well, I mean, we actually we probably could do like a Lin Shaye vote at some point, but I was gonna say maybe put a moratorium or whatever on any movie with Wish in the title.
Oh, I thought you say a memoriam on Lin Shaye. I was like, what, did she die like that? Did I hear about it? What? We'll do all Lin Shaye's movies when she's dead, right? That's the promise Tim just made.
She'll outlive us all. Come on.
Probably, yeah. All right, next up. So, Lionsgate announced that they are co-producing a supernatural thriller called The Devil's Light. They announced this back in October, and Gold Circle will distribute the film in North America, UK, and Latin America. It was reported at the time that it was going to be directed by James Hawes, who worked on Black Mirror and Penny Dreadful. However, the news this week at EFM Berlin, again, we have a swap in director. Now Daniel Stamm is going to direct it, and he directed The Last Exorcism. So this is now going to be the new director here. It's going to be written by Robert Zappia, who wrote Halloween H2O of all things.
Oh,
so, I mean.
Oh wait, no, H2O I kind of like.
Yeah, Last Exorcism is an interesting one because I think I like
That's the found footage one, right?
I like that movie until the last 5 minutes when it does the exact thing that I didn't want it to do at the end. But I really liked a lot of that movie. So who knows? Maybe this will be something. Here's the description. Yeah. Sister Anne, who devoutly believes performing exorcisms is her calling, confronts a demonic force that infests her school and has mysterious ties to her past.
Oh.
So it could be a generic, just, demon haunting possession movie. It could be. I mean, the title's very generic. I mean, The Devil's Light could be like a number of movies. Let's be honest. So that is that one. Next up, so we have Shannon Sozeman, who was in One Missed Call, Sinister 2, and recently Sleepy Hollow. I assume that's a TV show. She is going to star in The Undertaker's Wife, a supernatural horror film, also starring The Conjuring's John Brotherton.
So what, we're covering wrestling movies on the show now?
Brotherton. Oh, that's very funny. Very funny. I don't know why I said Brotherton rather than Brotherton, but I did. So just go with it. Yes, and yes, I get the joke. Undertaker's Wife. Yeah. The supernatural horror thriller follows a family's attempted fresh start when they move into a historic funeral home in the Deep South. So this is any like family moves into a house. I mean, okay, it's a funeral home, but it's the same thing still, right? I mean,
yeah.
So yeah. That's that. Not liking the sound of that one at all, to be honest. So that'll take us on to our two trailers that we're going to talk about. First up, Lin Shaye is going to be in a movie with Radha Mitchell, who was in Pitch Black and Silent Hill and the Crazies remake. So what's interesting about that is they're all really spread out. Like Pitch Black was like 2000, Silent Hill was like 2006, Crazies is like 2010. Radha Mitchell's got a very spread out career. Henry Thomas is going to be in there. He was in The Haunted Hill House and Doctor Sleep. So this is coming to VOD on April 28th, 2020. So this is one we might get to quickly when it comes out.
A month after my birthday.
Great, Tim. That's wonderful. So
So still be recovering from all the gifts our wonderful fans have sent me.
so Gail is forced to come to terms with Josh, her new stepson, at a remote country home. After stealing an evil talisman from a mysterious neighbor, Josh has sinister dreams.
Josh.
What?
Why'd you take the evil one?
Josh has sinister dreams of his dead mother, who commands Josh to murder Gail. When Josh's dad, Thomas, returns, he and Gail suspect that their son has been possessed by an ancient, bloodthirsty spirit. Is it too late to save Josh's life, or their own? So we got a trailer for this, along with this description. So this looked like a generic, we want the kid to be creepy movie. I don't know, I did laugh at one point. There's a moment in the trailer where he keeps like breaking things, and the mum, like, Radha Mitchell, like, goes down to like pick up the broken glass from this jar or whatever that he smashed, and as he's apologizing, he's like holding a knife above her neck. And that kind of made me chuckle. But honestly, for the most part, the rest of it looked like generic creepy kid wannabe nonsense, which is one of my least favorite tropes in mainstream horror.
Yeah, and like the kid just kind of looks boring. Like, no offense to him, but like, I mean, maybe he's supposed to kind of be, whatever, very flat, or if he's like possessed or like, not getting enough sleep or something. But it just, looks like a very boring, uninteresting performance. There really wasn't anything about this that stood out or looked good. Sorry, It just all seems very cliche.
Also, it has this weird thing where it has the trailer voice at the end, where it's like, Radha Mitchell, Henry Thomas, and Lynn Shay, Dreamcatcher, coming this April. Like, which is rare to hear now. It does seem to be like direct to VOD stuff that gets that now. But hey, so that's coming in April. It doesn't look very good. We might catch it, we might not. I mean, we'll see. We've got more important things to do. And then the last thing we're going to talk about this week, unless Tim's got a new segment he wants to add on at the end like he did last week, we'll find out, is we got a trailer for Grizzly 2 Revenge, which I guess is an excuse to do Grizzly, because I've never seen it before, if this is coming out. But yes, so
Grizzly's not great, sorry.
Okay, we do not great movies all the time, Tim. Why is this something that I should put me off it? So this is finally coming out, the long-awaited sequel to Grizzly, and I mean, was there footage of the first movie in this, or was Grizzly 2 just shot so long ago that the footage is this old that it looks ancient? Like, what's going on?
I mean, Grizzly 2 is an 80s movie.
Is it?
Yeah. Did you look at the news story? Like, the whole thing about it is that it was a movie in the 80s with like a young Charlie Sheen, George Clooney, Laura Dern, and they never finished it. So I guess one of the producers or whatever has been trying to like, get the money to finish it, and they finally got it. So
so it's still just been released. I mean, that's what I was asking. Yeah. This was shot 30 years ago. Yeah.
I'm guessing, like, I don't know how much of it is like new footage, or if it was just like, because I think the big thing is that they were getting money for like special effects. So I don't know if like everything was shot and they just needed money for that stuff, or if it was like, oh no, they did actually film like new scenes or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely intrigued by this. The story of it sounds, and I mean, I don't mean the story in the movie, like the story about the movie, never being finished and everything. It's definitely more interesting. Kind of makes it like a, movie curiosity versus something that's like, oh, this looks legitimately good. But I'm definitely intrigued. It's a 15-foot bear attacking an 80s concert in Yellowstone Park. So that sounds cool.
There was a lot of concert footage in this that was confusing me. I was like, what is this movie? What is this? There's kind of some sort of weird surreal like charm to releasing a movie that was shot in the 80s now, like as if it never came out years. There was a rough cut that I assume was online. I assume you could find it if you wanted to really hunt for it. But so this is coming out
And
this
again,
year.
it has like like pretty notable people in it, which is always kind of fun.
Oh, I'm sure they're all delighted. I mean, I'm sure Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen's probably not even like conscious, but Laura
Yeah.
Dern and George Clooney, I'm sure they're delighted that this is coming
Yeah.
out finally.
And like I bet they probably like maybe they're in the movie for like 5 or 10 minutes, but of course they'll be on the cover. Like
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Uh, Somehow they'll find a way. Because when those names popped up at the start of the trailer, I was like, "Wait, what? What's happening?" So there you go. That is the news.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but did you did you see the trailer for Quiet Place 2? Because I saw it when I saw Boy 2.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. I saw it today when I went to see Boy 2. I got the trailer and I hadn't seen it yet. Yeah, when did that come out?
The trailer?
Yeah.
Actually, it's a good question. I don't know. If it had been released before, I didn't realize it.
Was it one of these ones where it was exclusive to theaters for a time and that's why we hadn't seen it yet?
Maybe it was like maybe they premiered it when I was away, so I wasn't paying attention or something.
That makes sense, yeah, because there was 2 weeks where we did no news. Maybe it was just in that time. But because it started playing, and I went, "Oh, this was a Quiet Place. Oh, it's a Quiet Place too." And I'm like, "Wait, why have we not talked about this in the news? This is weird."
But I was it's one of those things where it's like it's like do we really need a sequel to this movie? It was a good movie, but it's a nice standalone thing. But I mean, I don't know how good it will be, but at least the trailer I thought looked pretty good. Like, at least made me want to see it more than just hearing about it or whatever.
I mean, I'm intrigued. They're doing the thing where they encounter more people, and it's going to be that post-apocalyptic thing where, hey, like, more people isn't necessarily a good thing. Post-apocalyptic people can be awful, and humanity's broken down. So it seems like they're going to get into that stuff. There's going to be like traps and stuff that they're going to have to avoid that are sort of designed to attract the monsters. Some interesting ideas in there. But yeah, I'm definitely more excited for that than I am a lot of the other crap that's coming out in the near future. So that's good. But yeah. Is there any new segments you'd like to introduce before we wrap up?
Should we do like what'd you watch this week? Like, other than the movies that we cover for the show, if you had any other notable watches?
I mean, we can do. I don't think I have any this week, admittedly, but like, I don't mind doing that.
This morning I actually started watching the Kane Hodder documentary, which is pretty good so far.
Okay. No, I haven't watched any other movies this week. I did watch like half a Mystery Science Theater episode last night.
Okay.
The episode was Cave Dwellers, for anyone who's curious.
Ooh, nice. You know what I'm thinking of? What's that?
I was gonna say it wasn't a horror movie, just for the record, just in case anyone was confused. But
you know what I'm thinking of doing, because it's just so much goddamn stuff to watch, and like every night it's just such a like. Me and my wife, it's like, all right, what do you want to watch? Should you keep going with Angel? Do you want to watch a movie? Just something on Netflix or Hulu? And what I've been thinking is maybe making each night of the week like a different streaming service. So I'll be like, all right, Monday we'll watch Netflix, like Tuesday we'll watch Hulu, and then that way we can be like, oh, hey, Netflix, like, let's watch whatever movie you've had on the list for a while, and then maybe get like an episode or two of Lock and Key or something, and then then you do the same thing for Hulu, and then HBO or whatever.
Or just don't watch Lock and Key because it's not very good. I mean, that's a possibility.
I mean, I gotta give it a shot. Like, but, I love the comic enough, but I mean, I haven't really heard too many great things. I haven't been too optimistic, but I at least gotta try.
Yeah, no, I get it. No. I haven't really done any extra horror stuff this week outside of I talked about it in the comics podcast, but Plunge issue 1 came out this week, and if you want an interesting standalone comic that is harkening back to stuff like The Thing and Alien and horror sci-fi from like the 80s and 70s, Plunge. I mean, one of the main characters in it, the captain of the ship's called Captain Carpenter. So. Like if you want, it's going to be 6 issues. The first issue just came out, so if you're interested in reading comics, horror comics, I'd recommend that. Most of the Hill House books have been really good, but that's the one that just started, so I'd recommend grabbing that.
I picked it up, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm excited.
It's very good. Very good. So that and I've been playing some Resident Evil games because Resident Evil 3 remake's coming out in April, and I've been in a Resident Evil mood, so I've been playing some. I did remake, and I've been playing 4 again, which is not very Resident Evil-y, but I'm almost done with that, and I'm planning on doing remake 2 again and the original version of 3 before the new one comes out.
Okay,
that's my plan.
Yeah, I'm trying to do I have a big stack of games. I'm like, all right, I need to like actually start chipping away at these and beating some stuff till I get new games. So I've actually been doing pretty good, but I have Resident Evil 4 is up there. Like obviously I've played it, before, but I bought it for PS4 and never played it on that. So I'm like all right, I gotta like play this at some point.
You can look at some trophies at least.
Yeah.
Get your PS4 trophies for.
And it's been long enough where like I don't, it'll seem like pretty fresh. Like, I don't even really remember like all the main beats of the story. Like I remember the, what do you call it? Like the like kind of the like what the main story is about, like the objective and stuff. But I don't remember like all the twists and turns and stuff.
The story's not that good in 4 anyway. It's not like. I've been streaming it, so I've been letting the cutscenes play, but usually I just skip the cutscenes, especially in 4, because like the story's not that great.
Interesting, bold take.
Play it in normal though. I know you usually play games in easy. 1, you've played it before, so you're more skilled at it, and 2, it actually skips sections of the game on easy, so you won't you won't get the full experience unless you play it on normal.
Okay.
There's like 3 or 4 sections that it actually just cuts out on easy. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my recommendation to you. It's not a hard game anyway.
Yeah.
So, no. All right. Okay. There you go. So that has been the Screams After Midnight horror movie news for this week. So thank you very much. I should mention one of the things that I'm going to be doing now is that all episodes of Screams After Midnight are going to go up a day early on Patreon. Not the news episode. That won't go up early, but all the movie review episodes are going up early on Patreon by 1 day. So if you're watching this on YouTube, when this goes out tomorrow on Monday, the Boy 2 review was already available last night on Patreon. So,
and
dun dun dun.
And probably want to mention, like, we don't have the details yet, but we'll be doing a stream in March at some point.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We crossed the goal on Patreon, so at least for 1 month in March we will be doing a Streams After Midnight. Me and Tim will get together and we'll talk to folk on the interwebs and play some game with them, and then maybe do a live watch of a movie. Maybe that'll be what we do. Maybe that's where we find some of those bonus movies that we don't have time to do bonus episodes on.
It's not a bad idea.
So that's coming. If you want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, you can support us for as little as $1 per month, and that $1 will get you access to the bonus episodes. $5 and up gets you access to the early access for 1 day, and also the monthly vote, where you get to vote between 4 movies, which is up right now, and you've got till the end of the month to vote on that. So patrons at the $5 and up, please do go and make sure you vote. There's 4 movies that are fairly random, because to quote Tim when I said what is the theme of these 4 movies you're suggesting, is they're 4 movies I want to watch because it's my birthday month, was what I got in response. So that's why it's 4 seemingly random ass movies. So go and vote. I'll also take this time to thank our Patreon producers for the month. So thank you to David Short, Alison M. Fordyce, Cindy Palacios, and Tyler Hess. Thank you to you guys for being producers. So that is us. So thank you to everyone for watching or listening. We always appreciate it, and obviously like and subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the news in the comments, all the usual stuff. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary movies, guys, and we will see you next time.